Hey, folks, thank you for joining us again for another exciting episode of YOMO. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. And welcome back to another week. So, today we are looking at Reflection 280 in a brand new book with three parts. So, this is part one of three.
Yeah, so this book is called Linchpin. Are you Indispensable by the author Seth Godin. And this is a three-part reflection, actually. So I loved it, honestly. The book's about. Do you know Seth Godin? Like, do
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Like,
The
okay,
Purple
all
Cow.
right. So the Purple Cow. Yeah, I've actually never read that one. Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. I
Yeah,
mean, it's obvious, like, how people say the compound effect. It's one concept, but can I explain why this? Talking about the purple cow, you're talking about you're talking about the black swan, right? Black
right.
swan among the white swan, the purple cow purple cow, it stands out.
Oh,
It's a
I see.
marketing book. It's
I
marketing,
see.
okay?
That makes sense. So no, I should probably go read a couple more Seth Godin books. The three that I've read of his, I've really enjoyed, and I know he has a lot more. When you find somebody that you like and their voice resonates with you, my
I mean,
experience is go do it
if
all.
you're eating cake
Yeah,
and you love it, you eat some more. So
yeah. If you
who's
find
stopping you?
if you find a
It's
baker that's really good, like go back to that damn baker until you tried all their flavors, right?
if there's a shirt you like, buy seven. I mean,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
why you say, "Oh, I don't know, I really don't like it, but I have to have a different." Who told you that?
Well, it's a little different than that. I like the baker analogy. I like your cake analogy better because they can make totally different cakes. Like this could be a butter pecan or a red velvet cake or something like that, and then they can make like a lemon meringue or whatever. But I guess the point is
Yeah, I
that
mean, there are levels too. Yeah, I agree.
so they're totally different genres of cake.
But it's still cake.
But it's still cake, and it's the same baker. So I trust the baker now, right? I trust that Seth Godin as the baker will always deliver a good quality cake. It's like Steve
Yeah.
Jobs, like we were talking about yesterday. Like I
Mhm.
trust that Steve Jobs, when and Apple will come out with whenever I go grab my new device from the store, that they will do their artistry work, bring their best art out through their meaningful work. So Seth Godin's one of those people. I feel like at this point in time, he's pretty solid. And honestly, I didn't have a huge background with this guy. This was all relatively new up until about July of last year. So about this time last year, the first book that I ever read of Seth Godin's was The Dip, that was recommended by my soon-to-be boss when I was still at Salesforce, who was trying to get me to come on board to the company that I work at now. Recommended that book, The Dip. He rightfully so. The guy's really smart. And he was asking me what's important about my life. Why am I doing this? When we were going through the interview process, and we got on topic of a lot of different books and things like that. He was intrigued by what I was trying to do, and he gave me a little fuel for my own fire. The Dip was a book that inspired me to actually want to quit my job. And then when I started, I asked him, "Hey, that book was really good." I was like, "You got any other recommendations?" And he goes, "Yeah, my other favorite book happens to be another Seth Godin book. It's called Linchpin." And he goes, "Check it out." And I was like, "Okay, sure, fine." So I was like, "Of course, I'm going to read it." I liked the first one. He had made a good recommendation. And I was like, well, maybe this one's good. So that's how I ended up reading Linchpin, and I loved it. Or a three-part reflection, right? So this book is about being a linchpin at work. This is the people that aren't afraid to bring their art out and what they do. The people that don't wait for somebody to tell them, "Hey, this is what you do. This is how you do your job." This book is about being a linchpin, meaning doing your best to not follow the rule book, but following your own rule book and doing the work that you love and pouring yourself into it and bringing your art out in whatever you do and becoming indispensable in the process, right? And I think, Steve Jobs is a great example of that, right? I mean, we were talking about that yesterday. That guy was indispensable to Apple. I don't know. I know Apple survived since he's passed away, and who knows how long they will, but I mean, look at like Ford Motor Company, Henry Ford was a linchpin, and you look at like Tesla, like once Elon Musk leaves there, like, is Tesla still Tesla? Like, it's not. Like, these companies are a reflection of these people and the cultures that they bring, and they are linchpins, right?
What
Yeah.
lives on?
Yeah, the art lives on, but like, does the company continue to carry the same themes? And this is something you and I've talked about with Clubany many times. This is why we're doing what we're doing, is because we want people to understand why we're doing what we're doing. We want people to understand, like, this is about meaningful work and meaningful relationships. And if there's ever a time in the future, 1,000 years, 10,000 years from now, where, if we're ever blessed enough to create this universe that we want to create of Clubany, right? And somebody's ever looking back on it. I mean, hell, think about the United States Constitution.
The universe that universe already exists.
Hmm?
It exists for both you and me. It's small, but it exists already.
Agreed. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's why we are, in a lot of ways, we love talking about this topic and we love strategizing about it. We love figuring out how we can move forward with this. But at the same time, this is also documenting that, of where these ideas come from and where so people can't fuck it up, basically, right?
Hmm.
Like it's really easy to. Steve Jobs didn't document a playbook. I mean, I just read his biography, but that was somebody that just wrote a biography about Steve Jobs. Like that wasn't about Apple necessarily. I don't know. Is there an Apple playbook that was written about this, that they all documented this stuff before? And did Steve make sure that he wrote down everything that of his philosophies on life and how to I don't know. I mean, I really have no idea. So maybe he did, and maybe that's a way that they can carry that legacy forward. Oftentimes, like you see, you remember a movie, the book Moonshots, where it was be a gardener, not a Moses. I don't think Steve Jobs was a gardener. I think Steve Jobs was a Moses. I don't think Elon Musk is a gardener. I think Elon Musk is a Moses. I think Henry Ford was Moses. These people they come with the ideas and they say, this is how we're going to do it. Like, here's how we're going to do it. And then they leave. Right. And then when they're not there, like, it's hard to carry on that legacy, because it's not them. They are the brand, in a lot of ways. Right. Like Steve Jobs still reverberates, in my opinion, on Apple every single day, whether he's here or not, for the time being. And someday he won't, though. Like Sam Walton, does he resonate on Walmart anymore? No, he doesn't. Like, I mean, we all know what Walmart is and we all hate it. Well, eventually it'll fall apart, right? For a long time, he was a linchpin. So anyway, that's what this book's about. My reflection is message received, universe. This would probably be a pretty short reflection just because I don't really know. I don't know that there was a huge point to this one other than it was me reflecting on like one of those like, God damn it, moments where it's just like, son of a bitch, you fucking universe, yeah, I see what you're doing. It was one of those kind of moments that I was writing about and just kind of capturing it. But I started this off with like, I really love my new boss, right? So he had recommended the dip. And when I asked him, when I went back to him for some inspiration, the second book he recommended was Linchpin. And I'm reading this book and I'm going, fucking A. I was like, Seth Godin, like, this is exactly what I want to say to my team. And I told you about this. Do you remember when I read this the first time? And I was like, true, because I was trying to reconstruct how I was going to do the core values quest for my new team that I just hired. And I was like, this is the book, man. This is the exact message. It's about feeling free to be yourself and to bring your art into the workplace, and to be the linchpin, to be the person that's indispensable, to be the person that is striving to be great at whatever they're doing because they want to, because they care about it, because they love it, and they're bringing their work out and anyway, I was like, my first thought when I read this book is like, this is exactly, if I was going to write a book about this, like I would have written this exact book that Seth Godin had just written. And it got me thinking, you know what, like taking a lesson from, how to win friends and influence people and all this other stuff. The worst thing that you could ever do is when you're mentoring somebody or whatever, is to like tell them like what's going on. Right. If all I could think to myself, in my earlier years, I would have been like, well, I'll just tell them this message and I'll make sure that they understand it, but like, that's not how it works, right? Like people don't just understand it because you spent 5 minutes, saying, hey, just bring your art out at work. They'd be like, what the fuck is this, guys? This is craziness. Like, what are you talking about? So like my reason why I decided to make this the first read that my whole team and I read together was because I wanted to set the tone of like, this, he's saying exactly what I want to say, but the best part is it comes from a third party source, right? Where I don't have to be the person telling them. All I have to do is facilitate the conversation and have them read it, and then we can all talk about it, and then they can interpret it how they want to interpret it. But they spend 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever, how much time it is, like listening to this, consuming this, letting the ideas percolate around their brain, getting them thinking, all this other stuff, right? And then we all just get together and talk about it. Like that's a way better way to learn, in my opinion, than it ever of me just sitting up there for an hour-long meeting telling them about bring your art into the workplace. They'd be like, this fucking guy's nuts. So as I'm thinking about this and I'm reading this book, and I was like, this is just the perfect book, like to start off my relationship with them and to really set the tone of what meaningful work and meaningful relationships means, and have somebody else say it in a very clear, concise way that I would have said myself. And I'd be very proud to have these same words come out of my mouth. Then it kind of hit me and I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, my fucking boss like did this exact same fucking thing to me. I don't even know if he did it, if he's like some Jedi Knight or something like that.
He probably did it before you even joined. I mean, that's when he'll give you the dip and say, well, what's the lesson you take away with the dip? And he's recruiting you.
I know,
and
man.
All he did is hand you a book. Say, look, here's little mysteries, right?
I know.
And then the book did the job for him. He recruited you while you were knowing. And then after that, he knew that you're gonna come back to him for another book, and he'll give you the next book, which is what he's supposed to be the leader for you. He's handed the book, half the book does the job for him again.
That is the best leadership you could ever do. Is like whenever I talk to my team these days, I'm like, here, go read this book. You're curious about this? This is a topic. Go read this book, and then we'll come back and we can talk about it. And if they don't read it, then I know they're not really curious about it. And if they do read it and they come back and they have a lot of questions, I'm like, oh, we can have a better conversation. Then I can be like, here, go read this book, because I can't tell them. This is the whole point of this whole journey, right? Like, we can't put together, 280 reflections, 3 years of you and I talking about and having conversations about stuff, and condense that into something that they can just intuitively understand, and it all sinks in, and we're like, yeah, meaningful work, meaningful relationships, like Clubany, like they're gonna go, I don't know what you're talking about. But if you give them content and a little nibble, something to chew on, and they go and engage with it. Multiple of my team members now come to me all the time about this stuff, and we have great conversations. They ask me about this podcast. We were just talking about this podcast today with one of my employees. I finally let him know that we do this stuff, and he's now been listening to a few of these episodes, and he's enjoying it, and he's enjoying the conversations. And he asked me, he comes to these one-on-ones now, and he just wants to ask about, like, he has like a poignant question about some topic that he wants to learn more about, and then I give him something to go, chew on or whatever, in a book, maybe a recommendation or something else. And then he comes back and we do it again. Like, we've been doing this now for the entire time that he's been the boss employee relationship, And like, this is the thing though, is like no one ever learns because you tell them something. I mean, we've learned this a long time ago, right? Like, no one ever, they have to consume it themselves. They have to make sense of it themselves. And then they have to be able to go, apply it how they want to go apply it, and internalize it how they want to internalize it. And that's why, like, I when I read this book, I was like, this is it. And then I obviously, like I said, I had that epiphany where I was like, this is exactly what I'm planning to do to my team, which I'm assuming that my boss did the same thing to me. I'm so sad that I don't work for him anymore, to be honest with you. And
but at least you I guess inherit some of his legacy, so you know exactly what you need to do if you want to hire somebody or recruit somebody. I guess he recruited you. I mean, to me, looking at it now, he recruited you like world-class recruiter. It's like,
yeah. I'm seriously, like, I was not trying to leave. I had all kinds of apprehensions about coming to this company, because I was like, I don't know you guys. I mean, like, I'm one of those people that if I was ever going to leave a company that
he didn't waste a single effort in terms of persuading you. All he did,
I sold myself. I sold myself through him giving me a little cheese bite, to go nibble on. And then I was like, okay, I like this trail. Where are we going? Let's keep going, right? Like, that's the fun of it. That's the best part about being a gardener, not a Moses. You don't tell people this is the way. You give them something to nibble on, and then if they want to nibble on it, then they can follow that, and then you can give them another nibble. All the while, you're doing the same thing, right? We're all doing the same thing. It's just that I might be leaving a trail for somebody that's a little bit further behind me, but somebody else that's a little bit further ahead of me is leaving a trail. Like, I mean, it all works together, right? And the reflection on this one was message received universe. And I don't know. I'd love to get your thoughts. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's not really a lot we can talk about in terms of the reflection, but there's a lot of like different topics we can talk about. One of the topic that that comes to mind is, for me, the only open mind is an inquisitive mind. If you're not inquisitive, it's not open. You're not open to receive. That's why no one will listen to you if you tell them what to do. If you ask me a question, I'll answer. But I never tell you, hey, this is what I do. You should do this, right? Because for whatever reason, if the mind is not inquiring anything, it will not be open to receive. So it's useless. It will close up all the time. So the only way we're open is when it's looking for something. It's looking for an answer. So to me, that's an important reflection we can take out of this one, saying that, in order for anyone, that's why for me is, if you want to learn anything from me, I won't tell you what to do. I only tell you this is how I did it. Use it as a point of reference and see if you can use it in any way. So that, to me, that's the way we should do, right? And we can talk about that topic, if we want. The other topic that I want comes to mind as well is that I think that most people, when they go to work, they already are trying to bring out their art. They have that intention. For example, let's go back all the way to when we were a kid, right? We ask all these questions. Why? You ask like 300 questions a day. But eventually your mom or your dad's going to say, hey, shut up, eat your fries, remember? Right? So this is the culture. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I still blame the culture for everything. Meaning that the culture is the one that stops the person from bringing it up. Because let's say for me, let's say I just got out of college, or even I'm today, and I got an opportunity. That's even for you to say, hey, I got an opportunity to go over to this place.
Right.
Somebody recruited me. Somebody give me the book, the dip, man, and I want to go there.
Right.
You went over there with dreams. Say, well, I'm going to go there, and I want to do this one, that. Everybody does that. It's natural for them. They're not going to say, well, I'm going.
Some people actually do in a weird, desperate situation. Not in the, they don't say I'm going to do the least I can do. They're so desperate for to belong anywhere, where they're like, I'll take anything and I'll figure it
Right, but
out. Like, so they don't even have good or bad. Like, I mean, they're
well,
like
even
C students,
in
you know?
that, they are yearning for something good. No
Right.
one is going over there and say, I'm going to be like this bland person who does nothing, right? There's something, but most people, they're going to bring out. But the moment I bring in my culture, my core values, the core values of the company slashes it. It slaps me across the face and say, true, don't do this again, because you do that, I'm going to slap you. I'm going to put you down to the ground. So
Right.
this is the culture.
Not embrace that.
Right.
Yeah,
So regardless, culture. So that brings me to the other point I want to make is when you say about Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, or Henry Ford, right? This to me is what you and I call the seventh generation committee. You have to be able to create a culture that fosters the succession. If you don't create a culture that fosters succession, then it will say, well, anyone comes in, they can say, well, company can be anything now. Company
right.
could be, this and that. But if you structure your culture in a way that this is who we are, because then if you're talking about, let's say, you're talking about Nike with, the shoe, right?
Nike.
When we create this art, right? You look at Nike. You don't say Nike is an affordable shoe. You look at Nike as this performance. You're looking at Apple as this art. Hey, I stand out. So because you've built a strong culture, it will last, right? And it will last because you can say, well, I'm Apple, and I will make a very cheap phone, right? It just contradicts the image. And so in addition to that, that's what I want to talk about, because I think this is important to company in general, because we have to create a strong culture, but then we also have to create and instill the succession. The success
founding
meaning
principles, right?
In company, there's always will be a seventh generation committee.
Yeah.
And that seventh generation committee will have successors. Successors are the groom that's going to be groomed by each of members in that committee to succeed them and to be groomed in a way that will preserve the core values of company. And to me, this is how art can continue to live. But if you don't, because you look at Motorola is a great, Sam Walton.
Right.
So these companies, because they have so many generations of these things, right? If you don't instill these kind of successions, then
you can look to many cultures around. The first thing that comes to mind for me is the Supreme Court of the United States. Like, that's basically the seventh generation committee for the most part. Like, everybody can do whatever they want to do, but there's people that are always going to understand what the core values were of this country and what they were founded on and the principles of that, and to make sure that they are saying, yes, that aligns or that does not align. That is literally their job. They are the seventh generation of the United States. And that's the reason why we've been able to, in my opinion, evolve with the times in a lot of ways, but still remain true to who we are. Or you could look at the Catholic Church with the cardinals and the Vatican and the Pope and the succession and leaders. Like, that's always the same people. It takes a long time to get to those roles, and it takes a long time to understand what the Catholic faith is and to practice it, to internalize it all, to really understand at its core, what is this thing? What is this club that True and Chris care so much about, spend so much time to try to find a life, what is Buddhism, what are, like, all these things, right? Like, you have to understand what it fucking is at its core. Like, I don't think people understand what Ford is anymore at its core, right? Like, I mean, it's just a fucking car company that makes some cars at this point in time. I don't think that people understand what Walmart is at its core anymore. It is just a discount retailer that, you go get cheap shit at or whatever, or, and you have a lot of hassle at. Like, right now, people understand what the core of Tesla is. It's a technology company. It's innovative. It's trying to move the world forward. I mean, I don't know. You name all the superlatives that you want to name when you think of Tesla. There's a reason why. And same thing with like Steve Jobs and Apple, right? Like, I mean, you thought of Apple as think differently and like do differently, and like we're going to control the UI, we're going to come out with amazing new products, and we're going to wow you because we know better than you, and we're going to curate this shit. I mean, hell, you can even think about this with like the movie theaters. This is like the fat head, really, versus the long tail. Like this is about control, but passing on the idea behind the control. Like I don't know that Steve Jobs did that. I just finished his book, and I understand what he's talking about, but and I'm sure that he left those other people there, but like to understand that lived around him. But once you're the third generation removed from Steve Jobs, like, are they going to remember
Right.
that?
You're gonna have to create these successions in a way that is clear, because to me, Steve Jobs handpicked Tim Cook, and Tim Cook is very much like Steve Jobs. Okay, his demeanor and everything.
Actually, he's not like Steve Jobs at all. He's super mild mannered and
no, his directions of the company. Right?
Oh yeah, like he understands Steve Jobs' vision.
That's what I'm saying is because he instilled that vision and he created this legacy.
Right.
And to me, like Steve Jobs versus Elon won't have a legacy. I don't think he has a legacy because Steve Jobs is like, doesn't matter what you do. I don't care what you do. I am Apple.
Right. Yeah.
You look at Elon. Elon is a guy who does many different things, right? He's going to say, hey, I built Tesla, now I leave. Now I go do Twitter and I leave, and I'll go build this X and I leave, or whatever. I build PayPal. Right. So the thing is, no one remembers Elon Musk as for what is Elon known for? You look at Steve Jobs. What's Steve Jobs known for?
I mean, just
Apple,
pissing excellence.
But there is something. It comes right away.
He's an artist.
When you mention Steve Jobs, there is an image. You look at Nike. What is Nike? Make the image of Nike, right?
Just do it, and it's athleticism, athletic excellence,
right? Performance, exactly. So that's why the legacy has to have that. Look at the Catholic Church. What they do, you know what they do, and whether you like it or not, you know. Even if you hate them, you know what they do. So this is to me is important because you have to profess your belief. Your core values has to show. You have to exude, have to live your core values. If you don't, no one knows what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't create this succession, planning, the seventh generation committee, it will not continue. Because the thing is, for us, we say if we the person that starts the company, and we say, well, this is how company would operate. This is our vision. In order for you to become this Supreme Court justice, these are the premises. These are
what you have to protect. Yeah, this is what you have to care about. This is what matters.
You have to look at these and make your decision from then on. But also, in addition to the constitutions and the values of company, we also dictate how you're going to pass on the torch to the next person. Right? But you have to spell it out, because you can't say, well, my core value is Ohana. Ohana means family, and leave it at that. Right? What the hell does family mean? Right?
Yeah, what does that mean? Yeah.
Exactly. So you have to spell out. You can't say, well, it's family, or we're here for each other. Right? What the hell does that mean?
I think of the Catholic Church immediately, like what is it called? Is it the apostolic? What is that prayer that we say? Like, I believe in one church, one holy church.
It's your creed. It's Nicene Creed.
Is that the Apostles' Creed? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's a Nicene Creed.
Yeah, this is. I believe it. Yeah, it's called the Apostles' Creed. I believe in God, the Father Almighty, Creator of heaven and earth. I believe in Jesus Christ, His only Son. Blah 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 blah.
Right, because it's spelled out. You know how to select the Pope, right?
Right.
This is the belief, the core belief, right? This is why everybody repeats it every single Sunday.
Every single Sunday, you go in and you say, "I believe in the Holy Spirit, the Holy Catholic Church."
And you get to the point where you understand so much of this value, you can become an ordained priest, become a Monsignor and the head of the church, and then the cardinals and the archbishops, and all the way to the Pope. But you know how to select? Do you know how to select the Pope?
By the cardinals elected,
Exactly. Everybody knows how.
Some shareholders that are like, who's going to take the Catholic Church, and get us the next best profits in the next,
But the thing is, there is 20 years. Unique way to select a new Pope.
Yeah.
Right. And that is written. You cannot just, this year we're gonna do something else. Right. Last year we did, paper vote. This year we're gonna do a fighting tournament. Let's do a street fighting tournament and see who can be Pope. Right. So that's the thing is, if you don't dictate how things are being succeeded, then people will put in whatever ideas they have at that time, and then your art becomes
it's no longer art. This is Steve Jobs.
Something else.
This is Steve Jobs' argument, like that I actually agree with. Like, I mean, once again, like we'll have many reflections to come on that guy in the future. He was a total asshole, but I think at the comparison is like Bill Gates or something like that. Like Microsoft's legacy is already gone. I don't even know what Microsoft is anymore. It never had a legacy. It was always about just making more profits and doing whatever the market needed, and that's what it continues to do today.
It's exactly what you say.
IBM is the same
whatever
way.
Dictates.
It's whatever the market dictates.
So Steve Jobs saying it doesn't matter.
I make what the market is what Steve Jobs says.
I still do what I do. I mean,
right? Yeah.
Apple can't sell anything, and we won't buy it because the market dictates. But Steve Jobs saying no.
Well, actually, that was back when Scully took it over, and he went after profits, and he forgot the vision. Like Steve Jobs was young, and he didn't understand that gap in time when he had like a 12-year gap in time between 85 and 97 or whatever, when he got ousted and when he came back, that it all fell to shit, right? But at the same time, like that was a perfect example of like when you lose there was a vision at the beginning of it, but it wasn't specified, like there was no succession plan.
It wasn't written because Steve Jobs doing what he does. It's like, hey, I have this idea of my life, what I want to do, and I do regardless of what people say, and that's that. And because it's not written down, it's not being professed to people, it's not being passed down, so he get ousted by the board. And then later on, he bought Pixar and Apple.
That's not how they came back. It was that Next Computers.
Next Computer. Right.
So they bought Next because it was like Apple was failing and they needed a new system and they wanted something unique. And Next was about to collapse. And the one thing that they had built was like a unique operating system. So Apple acquired them and Next went away. And that was how Steve got back into Apple. But it had nothing to do with Pixar. He was the CEO of Pixar when he came back to Apple. He was still the CEO of Pixar. So that had nothing to do with it. Was Next. Next Computers is what they bought. And that was how he came back.
Right. But like I said, without something is being written or being told, people don't know.
It was lost.
You go to any company and no one told you what their core value, what it expects out of you. And the thing is, for one thing, is to say that, hey, we are Ohana and you 5 to 11, right? You just doing lip service. And so that's the thing is, all goes back to what I say is I blame culture. And culture is super important. So culture can be good, it can be bad. It could be, the thing that suppresses you or the thing that lifts you up. And that's why I think for us, as far as company is concerned, I think we're doing the right thing by having the 7th generation committee, and we're documenting things, and we are basically professing to people, this is who we are.
We believe in one holy Catholic and Apostolic Church. We'll have our own little, Clubany creed.
And we sort of do already, meaning
kind of, yeah.
Relationship,
we believe in not running for trains. We believe in, never do it alone. We believe in meaningful work and meaningful relationships. We believe in having a little fun some fucking times, learning every single day and all you do. I mean, like there's a million things that we believe in what we do, and we try to live it every single day. For me, that's what a linchpin is. That's why I love this book so much, honestly. It's people that aren't afraid to know who they are and to try to bring out who they are and the work that they do, and to say, I don't give a shit what everybody else, but I'm going to do what I know that I can do. And this is why I keep talking about Steve Jobs right now, because this is the flip side coin of Steve Jobs. Like, he didn't give a fuck about anybody. Like, that's why I don't want to be him. That is not who I want to be. He discounted all meaningful relationships out of the balance equation. He just said, I'm going to go all in on meaningful work. And it's extreme on what he did. But to be fair, he was an insane linchpin that way. He was an awful person on the other side of it. Like, our goal is to do them both together. And that's how we're going to be.
Well, I don't think I look at it that way, because,
I do. I mean,
meaningful relationship is, to me, is back to the basic. Be yourself. And when you be yourself, the person that attracts to you and attracts to me is the thing that aligns. And so you say that Steve Jobs may not have meaningful relationship. That's what you think. Maybe there's somebody else behind him, maybe his wife or whatever, like him for who he is. Because the thing is, the thing is, you're not here to please anyone. Because if you are, then you're not going to be linchpin and you're not going to be happy, because you are here to cater to other people. And to you, if it doesn't align with who you are, then it's self-inflicted misery. And so to me, regardless, the thing, you have to accept who you are. You can't say, well, like for you and me, I say, I want to be this majestic eagle. I want to be this king of the jungle. I don't have that personality. So why trying to be that? I won't be happy. because it's not who I am. If I'm the beaver, then do the beaver. If you're the raccoon, then you be the raccoon, right? And you enjoy doing the things a raccoon does,
Yeah. Yeah,
right?
no, I
So
do.
so when you are a troublemaker,
I defend them.
if a raccoon, right,
Yeah.
we're gonna chase you away. So
Yeah.
how do you build meaningful relationship when people chase you away? People say, hey, blah blah blah, right? Everyone runs away from you. So
That's a
how
good
do you
point.
build meaningful? But you have other raccoons to be in a relationship with. That's you get into trouble together. So that is the meaningful relationship. Relationship, you don't have to be everybody. It is the
I,
people that you
I,
care about.
you've sold me on that one. You're right. Like it's
But it's important for you to be yourself. Otherwise, the
yeah,
other relationship it doesn't come.
right.
Because if you exude this vibe of, I want to be a duck when you are a beaver, right? The duck comes to you and say, well, you're not really a good duck. I don't like you.
Right.
And the beaver comes and say, well, I don't want to play with a duck, right? So in the end, you get no one. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But if
Yeah.
you are true to yourself, then the duck say,
I
hey,
agree with you. Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
clear. He's
You ma-
not a duck. I don't need to play with him. The beaver say, oh, I was looking for you my whole life. Let's go build bridges together. I'm gonna
yeah.
build dams together, right? That's what I'm saying is when you go to work in today's society, you can't really be a linchpin. You just can't.
It's hard.
You cannot be a linchpin unless you can find the environment that allows it. Job.
The
Be
environment that allows it is the one that tells your boss to read it, and then I tell my team to read it, and
yes.
then our team is actually called Team Linchpin. This is the point. This is the message that I give to them every day, over and over again.
Imagine you yourself as a 20-year-old, right? You work for that person you want to fire. Can you bring out your art working for that person?
No, not at all. So like,
You know what I'm saying? Because that's
I
what I'm saying is you cannot go and say, well, I work at this company and I will do whatever I want, right? Yes and no. If you're Steve Jobs, then maybe yes.
you,
If you're
you,
not,
you
then you have that. There's the other one down here. This is why I
yeah,
want to bring it back to what we want to kind of give you as far as like what do we do if we say, hey, we want to bring our art? Our art is important. But in order for us to not to struggle so much, that's why I don't want to train. All around down here is my favorite saying. I keep saying over and over again. Why make it hard? So it's easy to carefully select the job that has the environment for
yeah.
you to bring out your art. Because right now, what do people do? Right?
They
Oh,
just
I
go
live
anywhere.
I live in the city. This is
Yeah.
closest. It's closest to my house, so I
Seems
go
like
over
that
there.
place is
Or
like,
it
I
pays
hear good
more. It
things.
pays more than
Yeah.
that way.
Right.
Or it has a name. Like I told
Right.
you about yesterday. Like, hey, because thing is, people work for a big name company, and whatever, and they go to parties and say, hey, I work for Google. I work for GE.
Right.
Google make $100 billion extra of revenue last year. But if I ask it, and if I'm honest, and I sometimes straightforward, say, hey, how much of the profit did they give you? I say, oh, well, well, not nothing.
Yeah. Right.
But then that's the thing is, that's what I'm saying is people don't align the values that gives you the ability to bring out art. They prioritize the distance. Like the thing is, like I said, when you go buy a car, when you go on vacation, you spend like 3 months, a year planning your vacation. You took a job. When somebody calls you, say, "Hey, I got an interview for you." You interview, and they say, "Give you an offer a job," and say, "Okay, I accept." So, how fast do you take a job? And the job say, "Hey, you got to move to the city. You move to Alaska. You have to move." And
Yeah.
people do that all the time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I see people do this. All they do is they do whatever the job say, and the job is either by distances or by the payment, like how much they pay, right?
Right.
And by the
Oh yeah.
reputations of the company.
Actually, there's
So these things
uh
aren't aligning with what you need to become a linchpin because Google already has their culture. If you don't align with the culture, right, they're gonna kick you out.
it's not you're not going to work there anyway. Like there's a coworker of mine has a friend of his that he recommended to work for me, and I'm not hiring right now because I don't have capacity to hire right now. But I've stayed in contact with this guy because I like him a lot. I think he'd be an amazing cultural fit. And if this is my company or if this is Clubany or something like that, I'd be like, we need to get him in there, True. I would be like, I don't care if we got to figure out how to go get more funding for scholarships or whatever. This would be a great fit of somebody that I want to get involved in this, right? Unfortunately, I don't have a spot for him. He got laid off from his job. He worked in the technology space and There's been a lot of layoffs in that world over the past 6-8 months. Unfortunately, the company he worked at was a part of that. And he's still relatively young in his career. He has values all over him, like that are just, he wants to be a linchpin somewhere. He wants to be a linchpin anywhere. And like this kid will try and bring it out anywhere that he goes. And I was talking to him just a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, I'm getting close. Like, I need to make it. My severance is running out. Like, I'm young and I got to keep making money, like I can't just wait. And I was like, look, I can't put myself in your shoes. However, the only advice that I will give you is I would love to hire you. I can't hire you right now. The one piece of advice that I would give you, if I could go back and I was 20 years old, and I could give my 20-year-old self some advice, it would be, don't take any job just to take a fucking job. Never do that. Go find the places that align to who you want to be, and then go tell them, I fit here. I want to be here because of this, this, and this. And they will go, damn, this guy really wants to fucking be here, and I'm going to bring him in. I'll find a spot. If somebody came to us and said, hey, True and Chris, I really want to be in clubbing. I've listened to all your guys' podcasts. I've read blogs or whatever. I've seen what you guys do. I've talked to a few people that have said, like, this is, what you guys are doing, why you're doing it. And I want to do that. I want to do that. Like, and here's why I want to do that. It's because X, Y, Z. And this is why I feel like I would want to go into this place. And this is why it aligns to who I want to be. And then we would go, shit, yeah, like we'll figure out a way to get you on board. Like, those are the people that, like, you can't say no to them, right? Like, you can't turn them away. And then those people turn into those people that become cardinals of the Catholic Church, because they're the people that are like, when I was in high school, there was people that became priests, right? That I went to school with. I went to a Catholic high school and a Catholic grade school. And there was people that went into the, not monastery, but what do you call it when you go to like Catholic college? Like, yeah, it's a monastery. Monastery, I think it's monastery. Anyway, there was people that went into that because they were like, this is me. I want to go there. This is what I want to do. And this is what I want to do with my life. And if I'm the Catholic Church, I'm like, okay, great. I have 2,000 students that went to the school. There was one person that, or maybe two people in that entire place that wanted to be a priest. Like, and then they say they want to be a priest, then you fucking take them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you go, like, why do you want to do this? They're like, I'm telling you, I've spent a lot of time immersed in this stuff, and this is what I want to fucking do. And I want to go learn more, and I want to go figure out if this is the life that I want to live or not, and like, and those are the people that are going to succeed. Those are the people that are going to become the priests. Those are the people that are going to continue to explore their spirituality and the Catholic Church and all the other stuff. And those are the people that are going to one day maybe become a cardinal to elect a pope. And those are the people that are going to protect this culture.
Become pope one day.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, the businesses will just hire people who's like, oh, we need to fill bodies. Awful decision. Employees will go, well, I just need any job. Awful decision. I get it. This is me in a glass house and not worrying about where my next paycheck is coming from, and not worrying about making my kid has a sickness or whatever, I need health insurance. Or I get it. Like, I'm saying, in my world, the gravest mistake you could ever make is put yourself into that environment, because it goes back to what we were talking about last week of, like, when two people are in a place they don't want to be, it's just a negative shit spiral downward, right? When two people are in a place they really want to be, it's just an incredible spiral upward.
Gasoline on the fire.
It is.
That people overlook the important aspect of the core values and the environment. A lot of people say, well, the thing is, I'm sure he can get a job somewhere. It's just that people expect him to get a job in a certain field, in a certain range of salary, blah, blah, right? The thing is, if he goes to a place where he can be a linchpin, it breaks the ceiling easily, no problem. But the thing is, to me, if you live in America, I mean, even you have no money, you can still survive, okay? America is great. I mean, people will take care of you. Right? You don't have to worry about dying. They won't let you die, yeah, but you won't die. So the thing is, you can say, well, I can work for some place that I really like. It will catapult you faster than you will go to a place where you expect the salary is this level and you can't even break the ceiling. But the other place where a foster the linchpin in you, the art in you, it's going to be like gasoline on fire, and it's going to fly, right? And to me, that is more important to prioritize than what society tells you to prioritize. People say, hey, look for the highest paying job, looking for most prestigious or whatever.
What people care about more, like what's going to wow people at a party. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, you impress. I mean, the point is, we are conditioned to try to impress. And that, for us, for the most part, it exhausts our willpower, because it's a lot of work. If you are constantly using your power for those area of focus, then you have no power to put in the art. And then your life won't go anywhere. Because you think about it, if you continue to be this person and you happen to die one day, what would be said on your tombstone? Because for me,
You worked for Ford, you know, in 200 years from now, they're
like
gonna go,
if
what the
you
fuck
don't
is
care
Ford?
about cars, then that is meaningless. That's probably a slap in your face.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, hey, you know, on my tombstone say this guy don't work for train. To see my tombstone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, cool actually.
What does that mean to anyone? It means shit to anyone, but it means a lot to me, right? Because you live for two. What does that mean to anyone? It means shit to anybody, but it means a lot to you. So that's the thing is, I mean, it could think, yeah, this guy's a billionaire, but
In
what
a
then?
1,000 years, a billionaire would probably be like a thousandaire, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, that guy was a billionaire!" Like we all make trillions of dollars now.
So I think the thing is, a lot of times society is not very kind to us in terms of what we can do to bring out the art. So we have to find a way, like I say, run down here is find the environment first. The faster for you to upshoot your career. You can be linchpin in that, and it's gonna be easy. If you go to a place where it's gonna suffocate you, your flame of core value will be burnt out and will suffocate and it will just die completely. Like all of these art that you think that you want to bring out, eventually it becomes jaded and it just that it get either get buried or it just completely disappear. That's why a lot of people work for a company for so long, right? They hated the job, but they are so delusional in it. They don't know how to go back anymore. But I guarantee you, everybody that is start fresh from college or whatever, or have this dream of going to a job or going to whatever and dreaming of making a difference. Because no one said, I'm going to go there, I'm going to be a shitty employee. No one says that, right? It's only after you go into a company and you get smacked around and suffocate.
I would respect the shit out of that because that goes back to our getting F's versus C's versus A's, conversation. I would be like, man, if you can get hired somewhere and say like, I'm gonna go fuck this, I'm not gonna do fucking shit until they fucking fire me. It'd be like Office Space.
But the thing is,
the guy just like walks in one day.
The dream of fucking up the job, right? That's the dream. So everybody has a dream, has this eager anticipations of doing something that makes them feel like I have accomplished something great. Man. I'm going into this company, I'm going to make a fucking F, right?
How cool.
I mean, you up all night and say, I can't sleep. I get so many ideas how to fuck up this. That's a dream.
I almost want to go and you almost just inspired me to want to go get hired at like every major company and be like, look, I'm going to get a job at Google and I'm not going to do anything. And I'm going to document me not doing anything and see how long I can survive doing absolutely nothing in this environment. And then once they fire me, I'm going to take my Google experience and my Salesforce experience and all the other experiences that I have and all these other name brands. I'm going to go to, you name the next company. Like they're going to go, oh man, we just hired this guy that used to work at Google and Facebook and all these other places. And I'm going to go there and I'm going to document that
already happened. That already happened. You see so many CEOs of different companies that comes out. You look at all these Silicon Valley companies, a big company. They
oh my God, true. That would be an awesome book to write. Just get hired and literally like Office Space it, where you just do absolutely nothing, and to see how long it would take somebody to go, Chris isn't doing anything. I can't even imagine what this would be like. My boss coming to the realization, going, I think he's fucking with him. It's like, he doesn't do anything, and I'm going to go, yeah, no, I didn't do anything. I'm going to see how long I can survive doing absolutely nothing. The best role to do those in is a leadership role. Because like, I don't have to do anything. Because like, technically I don't have to produce anything. So like nobody would ever even check in. I mean, I think I could probably go just being nice to people. I could probably go, I'm going to give myself 18 months to 2 years.
Exist, though.
I'm talking about intentionally going. I think I can go 18 months. I think I could do like give me an over under of a year and like oh my God, you should start to do bets like on this. Like you should take the over under of like this guy just got hired at Google.
I was willing to say at least a year without people even notice shit.
I don't even know, man. Like, I mean, we would have to do like a nightly podcast where I'll be like, I did absolutely nothing today. This is, oh my God, this would be so fun. Like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Who cares? I get a job.
And then I think it's gonna be like wildly popular for after that year you're done. And everybody's gonna see, we're gonna release an episode every day. We come every night. You and I talking about, hey, what you do today? Absolutely nothing.
You should start growing a beard. I'm like, I look like a homeless person. True. I should never do my hair. I should never get changed. I should wear a hoodie everywhere that I go. I should come to every meeting like this. Right? I should get more and more like a fucking, I will never have a one-on-one with my employees until the point in time where they're like, do I have a boss? I don't know, guys. Like, we'll text me if you need me. I'll be on the golf course. I
get more important things to do. Absolutely nothing.
I don't even know how we could create content for this, but like this would be just a hilarious experiment.
All we have to do is you do the job, and we go on every night and we talk about what you do today, and just
what I did.
Just document what happened. And as long as we document the whole entire series until you get fired.
Until they discover that we have a YouTube channel that's like, I worked at Google. I'm working at Google and I don't do anything. I want to see how long it takes me to get fired. This is hilarious.
I guarantee you people are going to tune into that, and we're going to release it like one episode.
Here's a better question. Could I still keep my job that I like and get a job somewhere else? Could you do that?
Yeah, of course. Why not? Because you do nothing.
No. I'm saying, could I like spend all day long doing OSF stuff, get a job at Google?
What's to stop you from doing it? Nothing can stop you from doing it. Okay, absolutely. You don't have a lot of time to do OSF. If you don't want to get fired, you still can do the work that's meaningful to you at OSF, right?
That's hilarious. Yeah. So it's like, how do you get an F at like, okay, all right, my head's spinning. Like,
you think about this topic, how to get fired from Google.
How do you get fired? Once you get hired at Google, how quickly can you get fired at Google without doing anything to violate HR laws or whatever? Just being a good person. I will strive to be a good person. Like,
as long as you don't do anything criminal or fraudulent, they won't do anything to you. It's performance based, right?
Here's the mandatory stuff I would do. I will show up to every mandatory meeting that I have to show up to. I.e., like if you have an excuse. No. I mean, at least for the first 6 months, I would show up to every mandatory meeting. I will never attend a meeting that is not mandatory. If anybody ever asks me like, hey, where's Chris at on this? I'm going to go, oh, sorry, guys, I had something came up today.
I think it's the episode we can talk about, what was your excuse today?
My son had a doctor's appointment. I'm helping my wife with charity work at her school or something. We can strategize the night before. How am I going to get out of my meetings today that aren't mandatory? This would be fucking awesome.
That would be hilarious. But I think that would be interesting.
They're really fucking funny. Like I mean, and then we should start secretly. We should go to Vegas and we should put a money line on. This guy got hired at Google, and he wants to see how quickly he can get fired without doing anything. Like, see if you can find a way to take bets on this. What's set the over under date on the Vegas line or whatever, of how long it takes for this Google employee to get fired. Nobody knows who I am. Like, nobody knows what I do. Oh man, we can take our own bets. Like, I mean,
of course, that's why I say, if I don't bet against you, so they don't have an incentive to sabotage, I would say at least a year.
Oh, I'm going to go 7 months should be the over-under. Because you know why? Like, you got to give everybody ramp time, no matter what. Like,
that's what I'm saying is the ramp time is at least 6 months. Okay, so 6 months. But then I know that
then you go on a PIP for 3 months. You
got because it's performance based, and you have to have probations, right?
What if a team accidentally performs? Right? What if a team accidentally performs?
That's why I say at least 12 months. You can do at least 12 months based on what I know in terms of how much time you need to vamp up and how much you have to give them probation period, and plus that you're the guy who can bring up a lot of interesting excuses that is persuasive.
Oh man, this would be like one of the hardest things I think I've ever done in my life, to not work and try at a job that I got hired to do.
You're gonna be so mad because you couldn't get fired.
Well, I'm gonna keep my normal job. I'm just gonna go get a job there, and I'm just not gonna tell them I quit.
They're not gonna fire you because, like I say, because you know how when you have a job, right? Because have you ever tried getting fired?
I've never tried getting fired, no.
It's not easy to get fired.
I've tried. I've been a people leader many a times where we've tried to want to fire.
The thing is, they don't fire you until they don't have to fire you. They won't fire you because the thing is, that's why a lot of people quit before they get fired, because they can't stand anymore, because they do absolutely nothing. They try to get fired. Right, so
what level of employee do I need to be? What level do I need to be in a people leadership role? I think I do to not do anything, because I think it would be even more obvious if I did absolutely nothing. But I don't know. I could get hired in a sales role and I could just make pipeline up every single day and I could just be like, oh yeah, no, I've been talking to this person. Like, you know, I can totally do that.
People role and the leadership role, I think you can go longer because I've seen the programmer, like where you write code, last more than 6 months. He does absolutely nothing.
Oh my God. You should, all right, if I do this in a sales leadership role, you need to do this as a programmer role, and do absolutely nothing. We'll see who can last longer.
Well, leadership is gonna last longer.
Well, no, you should try to get hired as a technology leader, and I'll get hired as a sales leader.
Yeah, as a technology leader, I can go head to head with you on that. But if I have to deliver something, I can probably stall for at least 6 months to 9 months.
So no, this is what we should do. True is we both pick a company and we both agree to go get a job there. I get a sales leadership job, you get a technology leadership job, and we both do absolutely nothing. It's got to be a big enough company that like we can blend in and we're not like super important people or anything like that, but we both go blend into this role.
The bigger company, we're gonna blend in for years.
Oh, for sure. But then we can see who lasts longer. Like every night we get together and we talk about what we didn't do that day, you know, and how, and you know, and we're still here, you know, until we have to like act, right? All right, let's put a pin on this one. We should revisit this because this would be the anti-linchpin, right?
Linchpin.
Fair enough.
Because you and I are troublemakers, and that's what we dream about.
This is straight raccoon shit. Actually, this is straight raccoon shit.
We were talking about your art. You and I are good at this.
How long can we do nothing and get paid? That'd be awesome. Oh my God, this is getting great. All right, let's circle back to this another night. But all right, let's put a pin on this one for the night. We'll see you all tomorrow for part 2 of 3 for Linchpin. And thanks for joining. Have a great night.
And you see you tomorrow.